What does it mean to be a literary it girl? Welcome back to the Writer Diary, starring me, your host, J.E. Mahal Kuya, and don't talk too much about my pimple cream. I will literally rub it off before I go to work. But this episode, oh my god, has it's all about this Substack post that I read about by Elle Jones, titled "Against the Literary It Girl," and I'll just read out like the first few paragraphs. Okay. She's probably 5'8", but still looks dainty in pictures, with shiny chest-length brunette hair and tortoiseshell glasses. An Ivy League or an Oxbridge English graduate, she's always skinny enough to sit cross-legged on an upholstered piano stool next to a floor-to-ceiling bookshelf, full of classic, yet still niche books. Meet Literary It Girl, a dark academia fantasy coupled together from Pinterest and Tumblr, and now most at home on Substack. The fictive girl I've described is the base archetype, the thin fingers on a vintage typewriter hair in a messy bun original, but recently have spawned modern alternatives. Now, a literary it girl might be permitted enough body fat to have great tits, have line drawing tattoos of Greek goddesses, a penchant for spicy margs, and an Instagram full of sardine tins. She might have a shelf full of books about women eating men, or eating each other, or eating figs and wanting to eat men, or eating pomegranates and wanting to eat each other. With a thigh gap profile pictures, this is not an indirect. I unashamedly can't turn my eyes away from girl insides, and black and white gifs of Joanne Didion in hand. There exists a category of writers who are predominantly young and women, lauded online as literary it girls. And I kind of want to talk about like this whole article is a defense against literary girls and against the aestheticism and the simplification of the writer aesthetic. And I feel like a lot of us can kind of relate that we tend to romanticize our lives, and like yes, it is good to kind of manifest and whatever, etc., like holding space. But I'm not gonna lie to you, the writing industry and the publishing industry and the literary industry and the academic industry, it's very small. And I'm talking specifically of where I come from, Melbourne, small as hell. The There's an urge, I think, to aestheticize our lives when our entire industry is falling apart. Writers Victoria is getting defunded at this moment. Um, Everything is getting defunded. Everyone is turning to AI. No one wants to write anymore. I have a friend who is a teacher aide, and one of her year 7 students can't even write her own name by hand. So that's a bit confusing, and I understand. Like, I think we turn to make believe and imaginations as a defense against these, but I think it is not ideal. The writing life is not tied to high end education and uni and sitting down in bookshelves in prestigious academics and reading about Joanne Didion's packing lists or reading Emily Bronte's Wuthering Heights, which I'm reading right now. That's my reading list today. Um, to be a writer, I think, is to live a life of friction. Um, in history, writers and everyone has always struggled to kind of make ends as of writing and as of talking and in history, etc., etc., etc. Um, I think we often forget the lives of writers who are just working class, like I am. Like, I call myself a writer, but I don't have a career in the industry yet. I work in retail. I call myself a writer because I write. Okay, there are writers in regional Victoria who tend to farms and they write on their spare time at God, like at the crack of dawn when they have time to write about fantasy or their lives or the the es- the desolate yet beautiful countryscape landscape of Tasmania. I think we have such a narrow-minded kind of realm of the writing life that we often forget that it's not just high-end prestigious writers. Far from it. Like, we the writing life and the writing thing, like it's not just aestheticism, and it's great, but like it's broad and it's beautiful and it's full of friction and it is full of like hardship and it is full of rejection and editing manuscripts and workshopping and talking to your other friends. This is work, and pouring yourself out to people and sending an email again to, I don't know, a publishing house and be like getting another rejection email and then seeing if there's any prizes or competitions or anything that fits your current writing and writing something for a prize or whatnot, and then you don't get, I don't know, you don't get it in anyways, and it's fine because it's all about trying. It is all about trying. Unfortunately, it is all about hardship, and it is like any other job or any other lifestyle, and we do it because we love it. The writing life is hard, and we have talked about this to this end. Please resist the literary it girl. Do not fall yourself into small aesthetics and stuff like that. And I think this also ties into the wider world of taste. Um, I have actually been reading about taste, and I have talked about it on a couple episodes in the past. And I will find it. Give me a second. I'm gonna tie this into another substack that I've read by Eleni Luzio, and it is called "Are You Developing Taste or Performing It?" Now, this is mostly about fashion, but I think it really ties into the fact that in order brands are pushing taste, but it's not taste; it's just marketing. Like it's you feel like you're creating taste, but in fact, in actual reality, you're just copying someone because brands don't want you to develop taste because a consumer who doesn't who has taste is harder to market to or harder to buy stuff because someone who has taste has stuff that they has can push things away that they don't want. They like less stuff. Okay, and brands want people who like more stuff so they can buy more. The brands don't like a consumer who has taste and who has knowledge and who knows what they want exactly. And I think that's really ties into like the literary it girl kind of genre, in that especially within the publishing industry, the literary it girl is in terms of like product and like books and stuff like that. I guess publishing industries will or like publishing houses will more likely take on like books that are deemed hot girl books because even though it might be like subjectively or objectively just a mess, because they want to appeal to so-called literary it girls who have taste, and the taste being someone who just copied Joanne Didion's um, packing list and maybe reads, I don't know, Substack and doesn't really read the news or the local news or only reads fiction or whatnot. But you get what I mean, right? Like the literary girl taste and genre is just copying someone, and it's tragic. Like, get rid of labels of the hot girl books. We are more broad and more fluid than that. Okay? And like I understand the appeal of the literary girl, especially within the current economy right now. It is very, very easy. And I think you kind of have to market yourself to appeal yourself to an audience, to be like to a niche, to be like, this is who I am, like this is my vibe. Like if you really like it, you should like come in and like read my stuff and like interact with me so I can grow my career and get published. Like I do agree that the literary it girl is a very marketable, approachable person. That it's a very easy kind of, well, you get what I mean, like a very approachable boat to rise your career from, because it's static. It's a closed box, and there's not a lot of flexibility with it. It's all about hot girl books. Um, And I get it. And I have found myself kind of falling into that trap too. Like attempting to be this high-end writer intellectual that we often forget the power in the basic human life and being working class and just being, in the moment. If that it makes any sense. But that's just my thoughts about the literary it girl. I'm sure there's a lot more conversations to be had about academics and feminism and stuff like that. I have actually been taking a sex, politics, and social change in Asia, and the readings that I've been reading, it's tea as fuck. I love it. I love learning. I love reading. I usually do my homework on the train and survive. Like that 1 hour commute, 3 readings done. Period. But my reading list still Wuthering Heights. I'm still trying to get into it. Because well, still I'm thinking I'm halfway through it actually. It's hard to get to read stuff when you're literally like working your ass off at retail, but But as always, thank you so much for listening to that today's episode. All my stuff and all my links will put down in the description, and I will definitely see you in the next episode.